What's going on, y'all? What's going on? We'll get started in just a second. Give some people some time to roll in. We'll see what the stocks are looking like this week for the Sunday watch list. Got some plays that we talked about last week that played out very, very well. So we're gonna talk about that as well. We're gonna talk about what to expect this week. We're gonna talk about the economic events coming up, how that could possibly affect the market. We're gonna talk about all of that. So I'm gonna give everybody just a second to be able to get in here. What's going on? What's going on? Scorpion, Dennis, what's up? Miss Jane, Mr. Eddie, Keon, what's good? What's good? We're gonna get started just a second. Give everybody a couple minutes, hop on. I'm excited. This week is probably gonna be a really, really good week. This week is gonna be a good week, regardless of if the market goes up or down. We have ways to make money. That is the beautiful part about options. So it does not matter which way that the market goes. You can make money either way. Let me get this pulled up and we'll go ahead and start here. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. This week, as far as the data, it seems like on Monday we're gonna have a pretty clean day, quote unquote clean. You know, Trump tweets are always a part of the data, somewhat. On Tuesday we have optimism index. Then at 10 we have job opening, so that might not do too much. Wednesday you do have CPI. You have CPI year over year, core CPI. All right, so Wednesday, you might not want to swing on Tuesday going into Wednesday. We got CPI that day. And Thursday, you have the PPI. So this might be a day trading week here. This might be a day trading week. You got CPI on Wednesday, and then Thursday you have PPI. And then Friday you have consumer sentiment. So I'm not saying you can't swing this week, but it's gonna be a lot more risky, even more risky than it already is. We know the market volatility is insane right now. It's gonna be even more crazy because of those things that we have going on now. So it's gonna be crazy. Miss Vic, Pascal, what's going on? All right. So before we start, too, I want to talk to you guys about something that you have to understand, and that is you have to understand what market conditions you're in and how does your strategy fit into that. All right. So the way that I trade is I love to use chart patterns and I love to use break and retest, right? So I love momentum. With my strategy, I need momentum to have plays that turn out the way that I like to see them, right? I do not trade different ways, but the plays I like the most are plays that are giving you a move to the downside or upside in a more so predictable type of manner. What you have to understand is you have to be able to adjust, right? So this week and the past couple weeks, I've had to adjust my strategy to not do as many patterns, and now I'm having to do kind of more so of the buying at support, selling at resistance type of thing, right? So more so level focused than pattern focused because you're not getting a lot of continuation. Okay, now over time, this is something that you will learn over time. The VIX is something that measures volatility, right? So when the VIX is above 20, the market will be a lot more volatile than it would be if it was at 15 or 12 or, you know, lower than that. Okay, so if you want to trade momentum in patterns and things like that, patterns are momentum trades, right? They're continuation trades, or they're neutral trades that you look to take them in the same direction from which they came. When the VIX is high, especially when it gets above 20, chart patterns such as flags and things like that are a lot harder to play because you don't have the consistent momentum in one direction. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of volatility, so you're going to have to adjust. All right, so I'm not saying that the chart patterns won't work at all for you. But I am saying that when the VIX is high, chart patterns are a lot less likely to play out because the volatility is going to be crazy. All right. You might have a play that looks like a flag that starts to break down or starts to break out, and then it will get rejected. Okay. That's what you're going to have to expect when the volatility is high. So let me know if that makes sense, right? And if you want to see the VIX, I think you should just be able to type in VIX here, right? So this was Friday. So Friday it was above 20, right? So when you're above 20 on the VIX, you can expect a lot of volatility. Expect a lot less volatility when it's around 15, okay? So that's one thing to kind of understand here. Now, as always, we're going to go start from the beginning. We're going to start from SPY and then work our way down. The reason you always want to start with SPY and QQQ is because those two are like the big umbrellas, all right? So SPY and QQQ are like the big umbrellas, and everything else kind of falls under it. So as SPY and QQQ go, everything else goes. If we have our analysis on SPY and QQQ, let's say our analysis is bearish on SPY and QQQ, then we want to look for bearish plays. Or if it's bullish, you want to look for bullish plays. The only thing you have to keep in mind is it's super volatile right now, right? So things may look bullish right now, and you could have an entire different analysis by Tuesday or Wednesday, all right? And especially since we have the CPI and PPI coming out this week, I would be lying if I would tell you that I know where the market is going to be at by Friday. I don't know, all right? We have to keep our eyes open. We have to learn how to day trade, okay? Have to learn how to day trade in times like this, and learn to not be greedy. Take your profits and get out of the way. This is not the time to be holding things for a super long time right now. You have to kind of wait until the VIX comes back down a bit, the volatility comes back down, so you can get some more so clean price action. Now, you do have some stocks that are dropping quite a bit that are starting to look attractive, but you have to also keep in mind that we have not fell a lot when it comes to SPY, as I was saying last week. All right. So if you take a look at SPY right here, if you take a look at SPY, let's see how much we are actually down. SPY is actually only down right now 6%. And then at the worst on Friday, we was down 7.75%. Okay, so we haven't even dropped 10% on SPY yet. But also keep in mind, SPY is a lot higher than it was a few years ago, right? So this has been so far like a $40 drop on SPY, give or take. So a few years ago, a $40 drop on SPY would have been 20%, you know, when it was around like 220, 200, things like that. So we're in different times. So as SPY gets higher and higher, the drops that give you a large percentage for the pullback is going to be a lot more as well. SPY to drop 20% now, we have to put SPY around it's about, let's say, 610. SPY would have to drop over 100 points for it to drop 20%, right? So we'd be in the getting close to the 400s for SPY to be down 20%. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. So if we take a look at SPY right here, I do notice a couple things, right? Like I said, it's super volatile, but this is what we see right now. Okay. If you take a look at SPY, what I have on right now is the 200 MA. All right. So the 200 can act as a place that stocks like to hold, okay, as a support. You take a look at SPY, we retested the 200 MA on Friday, and we made a bullish hammer type of candle right there on it. Now notice that this area is also a support, right? So this 570 area right here, 569 to 571, was a support here, okay? And then it was sort of a resistance at this point until it broke out. So we are at a key level and at a support. So technically, you would expect it to bounce here, okay? You would expect SPY to bounce here. So with that, I'm going to be looking for stocks that may also be at the 200 MA, or that may have fallen to a support that I can find that maybe can give you a bounce. Maybe it won't even bounce for an entire day. It might bounce and then sell off, which that's fine. All right, we're going to see what we can find here, and we're going to take what we can get, and we're going to get out of the way. All right, we're going to look for opportunities. We're going to take them, and we're gonna let the probability play out the way it will. All right, let's look at QQQ. QQQ, you guys know I said last week that we already have a down move. So maybe if we do get a relief rally, you may form some type of bear flag. Okay, so I kind of had this already laid out here. So a push back above here, you see we are also at the 200 MA on QQQ as well. If we push above and give us a little bit of a relief rally, that would be exactly what we are looking for to possibly even come back down. Now, who knows? This could be the quote unquote bottom for now. We don't know. You don't know what Donald Trump is going to say. You don't know what other countries are going to say. You don't know how other countries are going to respond to tariffs. We don't know. All right. The thing about the stock market is it will always give you something to think about. This game is never going to be black and white. It's always going to be, well, this could happen, this could happen. That's why you have to know high probability setups like the ones that I teach you to be able to say, okay, well, this is more probable to happen, but I understand what kind of times we're in. All right. So looking at QQQ, we are at the 200 MA. So I would expect a possible bounce. Maybe even if it's just for Monday or Tuesday, I would expect a possible bounce. Last time I looked at the futures, we were down a little bit. We're going to take a look at it again before we get off. But I would expect the market to maybe bounce a little bit. Not expecting a full recovery, but, we're going to see. All right. So I'm looking for a possible bounce. We take a look at PLTR. PLTR has been holding this trend line very, very well. So if the market bounces, PLTR is going to be one of the stocks that I am going to be having on my radar here for a potential trade. We've been holding this trend line very, very well, and we are on pretty much the third touch of this trend line. At this point, you're touching it a lot, but it's a great sign that it's holding. Okay, so if PLTR gets some strength, I would be looking for this to possibly try to break out here. Now, this play is also going to be amazing to the downside if we start breaking down more. All right, so if we see PLTR start to get below 79, which is right in the middle. Right now it's at 84. So your resistance right now is around 90, and then you have 79. So you got a pretty big range. Either way it breaks, it should give you some type of decent move. All right. So if it gets around this 90 and it can't break, I'm going to look to possibly take puts up there to ride it back down to this 80 to 79 level. Or if we get back down around 79 again and we hold, I am going to look to take calls on PLTR to ride it back up to around 84 to 90. Okay, that's how it goes. Understand that stocks move between levels. It's always trying to go from one level to another. All right. And since the market is in a range, you're more than likely to not get the continuation, but you are more likely to get the range from one swing spot to another swing spot. Okay, so if PLTR gets down to 79, 80 area and it look like it cannot break, look to take calls to ride it back up to 84 plus. All right, if it gets up to around 90 and it started to hit a lot of resistance, look to take puts. All right, and you still have to use your risk management because it can still go either way, but that's what has been working. All right, so you haven't been getting a bunch of continuation, but if we know what to look for if we get continuation. Okay, so that's gonna be something that we have to look out for at PLTR. So it's right in the middle, so we just gotta be patient right now. Let's go through the watch list here. We have Nvidia. Okay, so Nvidia here, some people made some money on Nvidia. I talked about Nvidia on Thursday. If you guys tapped into the Trade Talks with RJ episode 7, I talked about Nvidia getting below that 110 area and coming down, right? So some of you may have made some money on Nvidia. It came down from about 110, came down to about 107.5. So that was good if you were able to capitalize on that. We had another play that we talked about that did pretty good as well that we're going to look at. Now, what I see for Nvidia, honestly, it could keep coming down, right? So I still expect some bounces, but, I would love to see Nvidia come down. I would love to grab some more shares. I would love to grab shares around 100. And even if we start to get down to around 90, that would be amazing, right? That'd be amazing. Nothing has changed with Nvidia's business. Business is still booming. We're just in a downturn in the market right now. You got to understand that things don't go straight up, things don't go straight down. There has to always be opportunity for people that dumped to be able to get back in and pump it again. Okay, so you're going to hit turbulence, but don't keep, one thing that you don't want to do is don't call bottom. Never try to call bottom. I like to just always have places where I say, okay, you can look to add here, or you can look to add here, and you can look to add here. Don't try to say this is the bottom, or don't try to say, oh, it's going to come down here. I'll wait until it just get way down here, because you don't know where it's going to go. Things could gap up tomorrow and you get left. Who knows, all right? So don't try to call bottom. Don't try to call top. Just play what you see. Have a plan. Use risk management. And let the probabilities play out where they may. Okay? So I don't have a specific play on NVIDIA yet. I'm more so looking for on like long-term type stuff on NVIDIA. I don't really see a trade on it right now, in my opinion. Unless we continue to break down under 107, I would leave it alone if you're not looking to probably grab shares or something long-term. Apple is just consolidating, right? So Apple's not doing a whole lot right now. It's not something that I would watch. ACB, you got Boeing. Boeing is breaking down a little bit, but has fallen to a support. So probably may give you a bounce here. But if we start to get under this 153 again, we could possibly continue down. So Boeing could be something that you possibly watch this week. Tesla kind of the same thing as QQQ, right? So Tesla has fallen, and we're a little bit below a super key level right here at 270. So we closed at 262 on Friday. Tesla needs to get above 270 if it wants to try to even do anything, right? So Tesla needs to get back above 270 to have any kind of momentum at all. If we don't hold this and we continue to trickle down, keep in mind that we do have a huge gap right here that comes down to look like about 220, 219. So Tesla still has a gap down to 219. Be aware of that. Tesla still has a very nice gap down to 219. So under 250, you can still look to short Tesla. I can't talk you off of it. DIA, not really set up there. Amazon is one that is at the 200 as well. We're a little bit under, and we're a little bit under a key level. So you'll notice that a lot of these stocks kind of look the same. All right. It's not a lot of setups. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was kind of looking through earlier, and there's not a lot of setups. A lot of things are kind of just looking the exact same. Notice how SPY, QQQ, Tesla, Amazon, all of them look the same right now, right? So they fall into levels that we could possibly bounce at. It's going to have to reclaim 200 again. Specifically, really you want it to probably claim 202, which is where the 200 MA is. If we get above 202, maybe we could see some type of pop because it would be back over the 200 MA. But once again, it's not really a great setup in my opinion. Google, this is a setup that I am watching heavily, right? So I'm watching Google really heavy this week. Google is right here. This is a pattern. If you know what type of pattern this is, drop it in the comments. If you know what type of pattern this is, drop it in the comments. This is a pattern that I love to trade, but like I said earlier, you have to keep in mind that we are very volatile. So this pattern may or may not play out because of how volatile the market is, right? So it could be very tough to even take this to the downside. But one thing to note that it is at the 200 MA right now, and it's been rejecting it a little bit here. So just keep that in mind. If if Google starts to break under 172, this could possibly continue downward, because at this point we would be breaking the bear flag, especially if we were to, let's say we push up tomorrow and we get a big bearish hammer. That would probably be really, really good for some puts, right? So just keep that in mind. Keep your eyes open. See you guys putting bear flag. Y'all are exactly right, man. Y'all are amazing. This is a bear flag pattern, all right? So bear flag tells us that a stock has a chance to continue downward. But With the volatility, we don't know, but we're going to be prepared. All right. So if it starts to struggle up here at the resistance around 176.5, if it's struggling up there, you could possibly look to be risky and take some puts up here, to try to take it down to this point around the 172, and you could possibly get out there because we could get to 172 and fake out and bounce. We've been doing a lot of faking out, so this is how you're gonna have to play it for now. That's how you're gonna have to play it for now. I would be precise with my entries, and I would be quick with my exits. That's exactly how you got to play it right now. That's the type of market we're in. So Google is on the watch list. We're looking for this flag to break, or if we push up and we get around 176, 177, and we can't break out and we start to reject, look to take puts and take it back down to the supports around 172. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So we're kind of looking at it from two different ways here. Looking at the continuation, but we're also looking at the ranges as well. Taking it from the support to the resistance. The same thing that they've been doing. Taking you from support to resistance until one of those larger time frame areas break on SPY and QQQ. Keep playing that way. All right. Meta, once again, kind of looks the same, right? QQQ, SPY, Meta, Amazon, all kind of shape the same. Tesla, just straight down. It did get pushed back up. We know we had a market surge on Friday. So you do have a couple of key levels here, but I don't really like it, in my opinion. I don't really like it. I wouldn't mess with it right now. Snow. Now, Snow is one that to me is a bit interesting. Snow right here actually is at the 200 with a very nice pin bar. This is very interesting. If the market was not super volatile, this is something that I would be getting a nice swing in. But with the volatility, it's a lot more risky, because also think about what you have. You have a huge gap right here down to 134. So you still have this huge gap, which is right now it's $10 away, but anything can happen. So if the market is strong tomorrow, Snow could be one that we see have a really nice bounce into 260 plus. Let's see, on the 1 hour, looks like we could possibly try to push up to 166, right? So this was the previous support here. It could go and try to retest 166 if we are strong tomorrow. So Snow looks decent from a day trade perspective, because the daily is already setting up to bounce, right? So all we need is the market to bounce, is for Snow to bounce. Now, one thing I'll give you guys this piece of game that people don't tell you is, you may ask, why am I on the daily charts for everything I'm showing you guys, right? And I'm looking from a day trading perspective, but I'm watching from the daily chart, because think about it like this. If we know that a daily chart, which means each candle represents an entire day, if we know that a daily chart is telling us that a stock can go up, what looks like a small move on a daily chart is a big move on a 5-minute chart. So what you see right here, let's take this for example. Let's see what Snow looks like from Friday. What you see here is one candle that got pushed up, right? But if you look at the 5-minute, look what this really was on the 5-minute. What type of money could you have made if you would have caught Snow from 149? Let's just say from 149 to 159 on Friday. What kind of money could you have made catching that $10 move intraday on Friday? Think about that, right? So these daily candles are important, because the huge moves that you see on a 5-minute chart and 1-minute chart are coming from the daily. All right. That's why we're always looking at the daily. So we have Microsoft, and that's old drawings there. Microsoft is kind of consolidating, trying to find some footing. It did fall down to this support area here that it's trying to hold, I guess, but not something that I would really watch. So I'm just keep it pushing. DAL has fallen below the 200. Same thing. I would keep it pushing, kind of just like Boeing there. MU is just in a huge range, but not any pattern or anything. Keep it pushing. So notice that the way that I go about finding my stocks is I like to see, is this thing near a support or resistance, or is it in a pattern? If it's not in either one of those, we keep it moving. All right. So Riot, we don't know what it's going to look like in the morning because we got to take a look at Bitcoin, right? We're going to talk about Bitcoin in a minute too. Mara, we have to see what it looks like. Mara's doing the opposite of Riot, man. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Crypto miners have been very, very weird the past year or so. They've been very unpredictable. Let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin while we're here. So Bitcoin, this shows you how volatile the market has been. All right. So what you got for Bitcoin is you had a dump here, right? So you had a dump from 96,000 and you dumped almost $20,000. That's a huge dump. So it dumped almost $20,000 in a few days, but in 2 more days, it gave you a crazy push back to make it look like a false breakdown. But the very next day, you had a huge red candle that gave you a, I guess you call it a false breakdown. So you got a false breakdown. What is that? That lets you know what type of market we are in right now. We're in a crazy volatile market. Then it popped right back up to 92,000 again, and now we're back at 81K, right? So what I would say here is you're gonna get to 73,000 eventually. When is it gonna happen? I don't know, but you're going to get to 73K on Bitcoin. And if you like Bitcoin, this is the place that you want to get it at, because this is the retest, right? So also note that when things get down to a retest, it doesn't mean it's going to hit this exact spot and go up again. It could come a little bit lower. It could bounce here and be the bottom and go back up. You don't know, right? You just need to have places, if you're looking for things long term, you just need to have places that you're like, okay, I want to add here, I want to add here, I want to add here. If you're looking for a long term, the name of the game is to buy the dip, is to buy low and sell high. Why do you want Bitcoin when it's at all-time highs at 109,000, but you're scared of it when it's at 80,000? That doesn't make any sense, all right? And it, from a beginner standpoint, it's scary when things drop like this, but I'm telling you, the longer view of things, the name of the game is to buy the dip, all right? Now, crypto is a lot more risky. I'm not a huge crypto advocate, but I do hold some, I like to be diverse. So next up, we got Shopify getting near the 200. Not a whole lot for it, in my opinion. So I would keep it moving on that one. Coinbase is consolidating. This thing is consolidating under the 200 MA though. So if Coinbase does not hold 200, we will possibly continue to trickle down. But looks like we did feel this gap here, so that is a good thing. We did feel this gap down, so that could be good. Probably not something I look to trade though. Neo, you got Lyft. One thing about Lyft is Lyft does have some bullish divergence right here. So if you look here, lower lows on the stock price, but then you have higher lows right here on your RSI. So that is bullish divergence, but at the same time, you're gonna need the market to kind of, give you a little push as well. But that definitely is bullish divergence, right? And even on a larger view, it kind of looks like a inverse head and shoulders a little bit, but you got a lot of consolidation. We've been consolidating for 3 years on Lyft. So if this thing ever breaks out, it's going to be a massive breakout. I will tell you that. But when is it going to happen? We don't know. Uber, just consolidating. PayPal. Let me show you guys something here. And this is getting into probably my favorite play this week, right? So PayPal, look what PayPal did last week. PayPal was a very nice play last week. If you take a look here, notice that we fell down right near a previous level, right? So this 67.2 level, what was this? This was a support here, a resistance here, resistance, support. Like, this is a super key level. The easiest way to make money in the stock market is to buy the dip, but you have to know how to buy the dip. That's what people don't teach. People don't teach you how to buy the dip. You need to look for stocks that get down to levels that are attractive. Stocks need to get down to levels that they have tested before. Okay, that's where you get the highest probability bounces to buy the dip. Notice, even with how how much the market has been selling off, once PayPal got down to this very key level right here, it slowed down. It slowed down on the selling because this is a key level that it's respecting. All right, now PayPal popped $2 on Friday, which if people was in a swing here, that would have gave them enough profit to go ahead and get out. PayPal is a stock that doesn't take a whole lot for you to make money. Now, take a look at this setup, and I'm gonna also show you XYZ. So XYZ is probably my favorite setup this week. This is probably my favorite setup, and I hope it doesn't take off or isn't already up, because I am looking to possibly trade this or get into a swing on this tomorrow. So if you look at XYZ here, XYZ right around this 60 area, right? So you got this support from here. It was a level here at as a support before it broke down, and when it did break down, it got right back above and took off. Okay, even if we look from the past, let's see what happened. From the past, it was a resistance, so it was a level here. All right, it was a support right here. Notice that we're back in 2022. All you're doing when you're trading is you're using past data to determine what may happen in the future. Okay, you're using past data to determine what may happen in the future. So if we look at XYZ, which is Block, they've changed their name 10,000 times the past 4 or 5 years. Block is at a key level the same exact way PayPal was before it had a nice pop. Now, notice that the selling has tried to slow down a little bit, okay? So the selling has slowed down. You are at a support on the daily, and who knows what this is called right here? Who knows what this setup is called? This is a setup that I talk about a lot. And if you are in my chat, you know I talk about this setup a lot. And when I call it out, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, it's going to hit. That's just the facts. That's what it is. Okay? What is this setup called right here? You have lower lows on the stock, but you have higher lows on the RSI. Does anybody know what this is called? Anybody know what this is called? Yep, y'all are right. Nick, Keon, exactly. Bullish divergence. Okay? So that is bullish divergence. So you have to think about trading in probability. Think about what things that you have that's telling you that a stock is more than likely to do one thing than another. We understand the market is volatile. We understand that it's going to be risky. But if you're going to look for a high probability setup, this is a high probability setup that is telling you that this thing may pop. When you have a stock that is making lower lows on the RSI, you're making lower lows on the stock, but you're making higher lows on the RSI, that is bullish divergence. And then you pair that along with that it's doing that at a level of support. If this does not pop, I will be very shocked, right? So XYZ is a stock that I am watching for a bounce coming up here soon, right? And it doesn't have to happen immediately, right? You could put a little time on a contract just in case it does fall a little bit, you know. But this is, I'm going to be very shocked if this doesn't pop. I'll be very shocked. You do have a little bit of gap to fill up to about 62.5. So at that point, that's $2.50. That's a lot to make on XYZ. So this is my favorite play this week. XYZ is my favorite play. I think that this could give you a very nice pop. XYZ. And if you look from the 4-hour chart, it looks crazy, right? There's some crazy bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart. Look from the 4-hour. Look at that. That's crazy bullish divergence. So it's my favorite play this week. If you want to see another stock that popped at a support, even though we are bearish on the market, take a look at FSLR. So if you was someone that tapped into the trade talks with RJ on Thursday. You know, I talked about FSLR. I was like, I think this thing could have a very nice bounce right here. I personally missed the bounce because I was not paying attention to FSLR at open on Friday, and I ended up missing the play because I didn't get in on Thursday. But those of you that did catch it, congratulations. Notice here, we got the same thing. Notice that the stock had been falling. RSI got below 30. We started to slow down with our selling right at a support from right here. Okay? And then, what do you notice? A very nice pop. Okay? So I'm expecting that same type of thing on XYZ. But even with this one, XYZ is even a better setup than FSLR because FSLR did not have bullish divergence. XYZ does. So I really like XYZ for this week. That's my favorite play. Something else I want to show you guys, right? So we do have a chart pattern. A lot of crypto looks pretty bearish. If you take a look at XRP right here, XRP has a head and shoulders pattern that once again we got a false breakout that we broken down from again here, right? So this thing kind of looks like a head and shoulders. Maybe it could come down and retest 1.84, which would be around a 200. But I will say that every time XRP has gotten down to under $2, it has ripped like every time. So that could be something that you could possibly look to trade as well, right? So you could possibly look to get your feet wet in some XRP, possibly if it gets under $2 for a pop, because every time here it has been popping very hard when it got under $2. Give you some nice pops. So that's something that I'm going to be watching for as well. That's something that you're not going to have to put a lot into to make a little bit. So we'll see. Besides that, man, I really ain't got a whole lot. We'll take a look at some things that moved on Friday here. You got Costco. So Costco, this is an example of how much volatility is in the markets, right? So earlier in this watch list, I talked about how right now chart patterns are harder to play because of how volatile the market is. So take a look at this. This is Costco, right? So I'm not sure if Costco, they had to have some type of news or something to fall like this. But notice how Costco had a perfect bull flag. And notice here, this was a fake out day, consolidated, and just wet the bed, right? So you're talking about a 100-point move in a few sessions here, all right? So, you know, that's just an example of how volatile it is, and you can get faked out, man, and lose your pants if you don't know what you're doing down here, man. So this was a great play on Friday, too, that I missed. I missed too much stuff on Friday. I got to do better. I missed a lot of stuff on Friday. So that's Costco. Now, another play that you need to watch right here is Baba. So this is one of my favorite plays for next week. I would say that this is my second favorite play that I'm looking out for. And I'm looking for two scenarios right here. So this is Alibaba. First scenario that I'm looking for is for Alibaba to possibly come back down and retest this flag, okay? So could it be another false breakout? It could be, but your highest probability play right here would be Baba coming down to retest around 134 to this 132 area and looking to take it higher there. That would be a high probability play. I would prefer that rather than it breaking out, just due to the fact that I'd rather kind of buy low, right? I'd rather buy low. Now, where would a target be? If it was to get in a swing on Baba, you could target the high, right? So the high right now is around 145. So even from that, 133 to 145, that's life-changing money, all right? That's life-changing money in itself. But also take note that Alibaba has a gap from 148 to 161. So it has a $13 gap as well. We did trade Alibaba on Friday. I traded twice and I won one and lost one, but I won a lot more than I lost on Alibaba. So when I took this Alibaba trade initially, it was right here. Let me show you where I took this trade at. I'll show you. So I was in this trade on Alibaba. I was looking for it to bounce. Um, I was looking for it to bounce right here. So as soon as it bounced, I was looking to get in, and I had it stops at 143.6, which was just, this around this low point over here. And we instantly kind of got stopped out. But as it reclaimed again, I took a re-entry and ended up profiting very well on it. So it was trying to hold the Ripster Cloud and got pushed down. It reclaimed. I took a re-entry and ended up making money on it and had a perfect exit because at that point it just got destroyed again. So, the market's been crazy volatile, man. You got to pick your spots and take your money and go. Pick your spots, take your money and go. So that's what I'm looking for on Alibaba. I would just rather it pull back down to 132, grab some calls down there and kind of just let this thing play out the way it's going to play out. That's what I would love to see from Alibaba. All right. Besides that, man, not a whole lot going on this week. Just got to keep your eyes peeled. Once again, be disciplined, use risk management, take your money and go. We have too much going on this week. You got CPI, you got PPI, you got a lot of things to look out for. So don't use all your capital early in the day. Don't use your whole account on one trade. Don't do things like that because things can just change so fast in this type of market, and I hate to see you guys blow your account, from not knowing what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, this is a great time to learn, right? So the market hasn't been this volatile since Donald Trump was in office last time. The market hasn't been this volatile since 2020, 2019. So just understand that we are in some crazy times, but hard times don't always last, right? Those that last during this time are going to benefit down the road. So have your levels set up. Set up your buy points for your stocks. You got a lot of stocks that have dropped quite a bit. If you're looking, if you guys love Tesla at 480, I don't see why you don't love it at 260. Some of you was asking, should you buy it at 450? But now that it's at 260, now you don't want to get it no more. So, I don't know what's up with that. But if you guys want to, make sure I'm going to put the link to my free Discord in the description. So make sure you guys join in there. Always dropping some free game in there almost every single day. Drop charts in there from time to time. So make sure you join that. Also follow me on Instagram if you want to. I post a lot of free trading content. I have over 600 posts of educational trading content. Nobody else will tell you the things that I give you for free on Instagram or on here. So if you guys like this at all, make sure you let me know in the comments if you like this. Drop a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more. I'll be going live more and more on YouTube. I'll probably do a live or two this week, but for the next Sunday watch list to kind of give an update throughout the week. So my next live will probably be on Tuesday or Wednesday. So just be on the lookout for that, man. But I appreciate everybody hopping on tonight. Guys, join the free Discord. Drop some charts in there. Let's see what we can find. Let's make some money, man. Y'all don't be scared of the market.